weekend is the date now. Okay, but still, we can still talk about some other things. The election, the governorship and state assemblies, state house of assembly, houses of assembly election is one thing, but there also is the big one, which is the presidential election. You know, the dust hasn't quite settled for some. For many, of course, we have a president-elect, duly elected, duly declared, and he's just got on with it. But, you know, it is a democracy, and there are those who say they have issues. We're waiting so that all of those can also be cleared. In this regard, I guess we could also look at a post-mortem, if you want, of the presidential election. It'll be the umpteenth one. This has been done serially, but nevertheless, it's a very current subject. So my guest this morning, Prince Hilliard Etta, APC chieftain, in fact, former acting chairman of the APC, is our guest this morning. Prince Hilliard Etta, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my brother Folarin. Good to see you again.
Indeed, same here. Okay, now, when we talk about a post-mortem, I guess, give me your thoughts on the election that's over, but for the commentary. There's commentary, and it's not frivolous commentary, shall we say, because being a Democrat and all of that, we've got to let everybody have their say. Against that kind of a backdrop, what would be your contribution to a post-mortem on the presidential election?
Well, thank you very much for having me this morning. First of all, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, having been properly elected as the 16th President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is how I will start, because this election has thrown up a lot of things, and it has been a very exciting, not just the politicians, but even the generality of Nigerians. I would like to say that the election, to me, from my perspective, is perhaps the freest and the fairest election that we have had since 1999. The INEC needs to be congratulated for the job that they have done. This is the first time since 1999, as I remember, that results of elections have been uploaded for public scrutiny. And to confirm it was a free and come with a catalog of results from their agents across Nigeria to dispute the elections that have been provided for, or the results that have been provided for on the portal of the INEC as uploaded. So for me, it signals the fact that it was indeed a free, fair, and transparent process. Having said so, let me say that the opposition choosing to go to court is only to confirm that our democracy is deepening, and that people who participate in the processes of political life will seize the reliefs as we have them in our ground norm, which is the constitution of the party, the constitution of the country. So I am indeed very delighted. I am indeed delighted that from hence, politicians and political leaders and those who seek political offices will be accountable, because the elections of 25th of February has shown that indeed that the voter is king in Nigeria. We saw how our very revered presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu lose Lagos. We saw how Governor Ganduje lost Kanu. We saw how campaigns lose Plateau. How Governor Sule lost in Nasarawa. We saw how Governor Otum lost in Benue State. So the introduction of technology has helped to cleanse the political process of Nigeria, and it is kudos to INEC for doing a very thorough and commendable job. Now, having said so, let me also say that what the election did was that the election trumped religious politics and politics of identity. Unfortunately, the candidates of Labour Party and the candidates of PDP indicity to swear Nigerian voters, and the results of the election is that the Nigerian voters pushed back and stood on the side of good governance, devoid of religious or ethnic coloration. And it is something that we have to build on. It is something that we have to showcase to the world that indeed our democracy is coming of age, and that the Nigerian voting population are far wiser than what our political leaders to portray. So it was a fantastic election. In this election, we had some very notable Nigerians play very notable and defining roles in the attempt to build a better Nigeria. And we have, I'd like to start with the APC Northern governors. They were indeed selfless and patriotic and nationalistic in the way that they conducted themselves. They were the ones who stood on the side of the truth and on the side of nation building by insisting that the presidency of Nigeria should come to the south, having spent about 8 years in the north. We also have Governor Wike as a hero in the presidential election, who, despite being a member of the party that produced a northern candidate, stood his ground and said that the nation's presidency or the nation's president should come from the south. We also have, as heroes, members of the APC who for 8 years any kind of reward. They have been working on unrewarded for about 8 years, but they stood their ground. Some of them had wanted to leave the party. I know because I have been in the management of the party since 2014. I know that a lot of people, an avalanche of members of the party, had made up their minds to leave the party, only for them to make a U-turn when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged as candidate of the party, and because they all know him as a rewarder of effort and loyalty, and so they decided to stick around to see to the election of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And if you,
I beg your pardon,
analysis
Prince,
will be done about this election,
Prince.
you will see that.
I beg your pardon, Prince.
Lastly, if you will allow me, the last hero of this election is Mr. Peter Obi. And I will come to that in details, perhaps if you give me time in the course of this
because
conversation.
I think, okay, excellent. Because I think you can link whatever you were going to say in response to this question.
I'm not hearing you.
Okay, you will. You know we have a delay thing. Can you hear me? Because I was hearing you right up until this. Can you hear me now? this is in the nature of a test. No, not yet.
I cannot hear you, my brother. I'm not hearing you.
Maybe I shouldn't have interrupted.
I'm not hearing you.
Maybe I shouldn't have interrupted. Well, if you can't hear me, this can't continue really. But as I'm
yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So what we do is we change the shot. Maybe you change the shot, you go back to that other shot, and now you can hear me. But that was just a joke. I was saying that you might be able to link whatever you wanted to say. You were going to speak about Mr. Peter Obi, and I was going to ask you the question: what do you think about all the pre-election polls that we were witness to in Nigeria? As you know, they just all about
my brother.
Got
it
it wrong.
is not clear. I'm not hearing you at all. I am not hearing you at all.
You know what? We'll take a short break. We're going to take a short break so we can fix that conclusively. Do stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas. It shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
In the month of March, on the 3rd is World Wildlife Day. On March the 8th is a day set aside as International Women's Day. March 13th is Commonwealth Day. And March 21st is the day dedicated to the elimination of racial discrimination, and also World Down Syndrome Day. Water Day is on the 22nd, and March 24th is World Tuberculosis Day, while March 25th is International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery. Finally, on the 28th of March, it's 1-year remembrance of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack. Brace yourself for an interesting March, only on TVC.
It's the most visited state in Africa. As the 5th largest economy on the continent, covering Lagos and its government is no mean feat. It's a busy beat. We go beyond the cutting of tapes to traveling far into the deep.
Lagos State Government for the healthcare facility
to bring stories that cut across all spectrums.
A greater Lagos shall be ours.
Stories that define our collective well-being as Lagosians. I'm Adedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. I am Babajide Kolaji Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
taking you through as it happens.
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
with investigations that matter,
bringing in news that affect your life,
with sport, entertainment, and business news, so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth
every night.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Business lives on the fast track of numbers. Business is a strange world where low numbers mean something different. And its currency are speed and time. Finding the open doors of mainstream is not just good business, it's the start of the business. Join us every weekend.
So, all in favor say aye. Those against me, the ayes have it.
What do you know about the legislature, its role in governance, and as one of the three arms of government? Lagos Parliament is here to bring it to you as it is. Here to bring you every detail you need to know about the legislature in Africa's most populous city. On Lagos Parliament, you get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week. Events are critically reviewed. You can also observe plenary in Yoruba language. I am Abimbola Agbebi. Join me every Friday at 9 p.m. as I take you through the activities of the legislature.
Doubt and fear. It shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty, erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back. We're very sorry for that break. It's not a break that we wanted to take, but there were technical issues. Our guest is Prince Hilliard Etta, former acting chairman of APC. So sorry about this, Prince Etta. You can hear me now, I take it?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Very
So
clear.
Okay, excellent. So I wanted to move forward. You've just sort of given us, your view on sort of a post-mortem on the presidential election. So I was going to follow that up, even though you had more to say. We've actually been thankful that Labour Party's Peter Obi was in the race. As you know, he came third.
Yes.
And, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think of the situation that we have on our hands, where those pre-election polls? All of them got it wrong. The only thing that they got right about all those polls was that one of them, it wasn't even all of them, one of them had made the projection that it was going to be a 3-horse race. So that's the only aspect that one of them got right. But all the others were calling it for other people. So seeing as these polls have to be, they're sort of scientific. They're known as scientific because when you talk about scientific, they're statistically based. What do you think? What do you think went wrong when all of the polls, nobody really got it, apart from the one that said that it was going to be a 3-horse race?
My perspective to the polls that we had pre the presidential election is that polls is a new feature of the Nigerian political process, and I believe that it has not been contextualized, that it has not been particularized to the conditions and the situations of Nigeria. I think they are using the same parameters, the same variables that they deploy in the Western democracies to do polls in Nigeria. That is about one of the reasons that I think that they are completely off the mark. The second one is that we're paid for. I'll take an example. Take an example of the ANAP polls. We know the owners of ANAP, and we know their political persuasion or their electoral persuasion in these 2023 elections. So there were so many factors that made for the polls that we had in pre the election to be completely different from the electoral preference of the Nigerian people. I believe that there must be a scientific way of gauging the political temperature of the country and the electoral preferences of our people. But until it is particularized, until it is contextualized, until the things that make us who we are, the Nigerian factor, so to speak, are taken into consideration in the formulation of the variables to for polls to actually be relevant in our situation. Having said so, I would like to say that Nigerian politicians have always loved a strategy of giving the impression of their strength even when they do not have. It has been so. We have done so in several ways. Most times you see people hire a lot of people in rallies so that the other opponent will think that they are essentially on ground. This is one of the things that the Nigerian, some of the contestants deployed to distract the other contestants. That's my perspective. But I think that I have had an opportunity to be on television to say that these polls, putting them together, create a situation where people have unrealistic expectations. And the concomitant consequences of such unrealistic expectation is that people become emotional, and in some cases allow their emotions to propel them into regrettable actions. I am happy that this scenario has not come to pass in Nigeria. I am happy that those who feel that they should have won based on the polls are taking the constitutional means of redress rather than taking to a replication of what the NSAS did in Lagos and other parts. And I must say that amounts of responsibility, being one of the victims.
Indeed, and in that regard, a lot of people are happy, as you've just said, that, look, there's a prescribed route should you have any issues, and you can actually avail yourself of that route and just take it to its logical conclusion. But in the midst of all of that, INEC has had to make the announcement that, you know what, guys, talking to political parties, INEC was set up to regulate and supervise political parties and not the other way around. This, of course, came about because of demands to see INEC's records, database, and INEC said that is not going to happen. Do you think there's a sense like being understanding and saying, look, let's just make this thing work? A winner has been declared. That doesn't mean that there's no more to be said about it. If people are speaking, okay, let's give them the entirety of their rights to pursue it. But then you begin to, perhaps in INEC's view, overdo it, so much so that INEC has to now say that you're not going to come and be, breathing down our necks and looking over our shoulders and looking into all sorts of sensitive records. Give me what do you think of that? INEC just made that announcement last night, I believe.
Well, somebody likened it to students wanting to see how the lecturers are setting up the exams for them. Well, for me, I think that the Labour Party with that. The Electoral Act provides for two sets of results. The one that is uploaded on the portal of the IREF, and the one that you have as a hard copy. And this is why when people questioned the Labour Party, when they were given the opportunity of listing their agents in the 176,225 polling units in Nigeria, they came short by about 40 or 43,000 or thereabout, 1,000 agents. Because if they had all of these agents in place, and they would have had their hard copy, which will allow them to go to court if they have any concerns. Good for us that the INEC has all the results. I think about 97% of the results from all over Nigeria is on the portal of the INEC now. What they should do is to go to the portal and compare with the results that they have on paper. Now you cannot allow every Tom, Dick and Harry, no matter the level of participation in the process, to go to INEC and know how the server, how the IRF, and how the beavers are all configured. It will give you an advantage that you do not have in the laws of the land. No political party has that kind of advantage as enshrined in the Constitution of the country or the Electoral Act that regulates the election. And so I think on this matter, INEC is on a higher ground, and I think that the political parties must avail themselves with those reliefs are protected in the Constitution and the Electoral Act. So that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, thank you. So, that is not going to happen. INEC is not going to open its vaults to a political party, as you just said, just because somebody feels that might be a good idea. You have to think about it all. But you were speaking about some of the aspects of the just concluded election after the event, patterns being discerned, and you had said there's this unfortunate pattern of ethnicity and religion.
Well, I've heard people say that.
Yes.
Yes. I've heard people say that, you can't really remove that from our party. It doesn't matter which party it is. Although there are those who are saying that, well, Labour Party has come along and has done it the way it hasn't been done before, allegedly. Of course, Labour Party will disagree. They will say it's just about competency, and it just so happens that there's also this coincidence that where this competency is coming from happens to be, the area that they prefer. But this surely is a problem.
No, that is. I will disagree. I will disagree with the people. I will disagree with the people who hold that opinion. You are aware that the Labour Party presidential candidate, unfortunately, was using the pulpits of the church, or the church. When I say the church, I'm talking about Christendom. Was using the pulpit of the church to ask, and in fact, in a particular instance, he had asked the church to take back the country. That was a little too much, and the showing of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party cannot be divorced from the from the church. I do know that a lot of people have had to vote for the presidential candidate of the party because their pastors asked them to. And you can see the rhetorics of the pastors even after the elections, the results of the elections have been announced. So you see, for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have come tops in the election, it means that a large percentage of Nigerians are speaking truth to the pastors and telling them to steer away from our political lives. They should rather be concentrating on our spiritual. And again, on the other hand, you remember that Waziri Adamawa, the presidential candidate of the PDP, had gone to Kaduna to ask the people of the north not to vote for a Yoruba or an Igbo man. You remember? So he proceeded from that premise of wanting only the people of the north to vote for him. But you see, if you look at the results of the election, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu won more in the north than even Atiku Abubakar.
Indeed. One moment, please, Prince. I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Prince. I've got to bring on Reverend Dominic. I'm so sorry. Got to bring on Reverend Dominic, who has been waiting for a while. Good morning, Reverend Dominic, and thank you for holding on.
Well, thank you, Chief Yori. Chief Yori, I don't know if your guest will hear me. He has spoken well.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Prince Etta, can you hear the phone caller?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Please continue, Reverend Dominic.
Okay, you will bear me witness. To me, this election has been won and lost. If you can hear me. This election has been won and lost. Yes, but Yori, I want to ask your guest, just like I have an argument in my office after service yesterday. I pastor a church, there are captains of the industry in it, and everybody, supports who you want to support. I'm a preacher, so I don't. But there's an argument in my office yesterday. I want to ask your guest, why is it that after this election, there's a cry and hue all over the world? I read the Times of United Kingdom. The Chatham House has been against for many years that people go there to talk, even that people they're still our masters. Chatham House put on their own report. All of the international observers in Nigeria, the local observers in Nigeria, put their own report. And every of these reports were saying that INEC did not do what it's supposed to do, that this election is flawed. To me, my opinion, particularly, it's lost and won. But it doesn't have international credibility. It doesn't have local credibility. And there's a result I saw yesterday, Yori. I saw the result from Katsina yesterday, where Mr. President voted. The result in 2019 was the same result exactly in 2023. I may be wrong or right. That's by the side. And most of us who believe that this election is won and lost still have fear because of our show tribunal. You know what is Osun Tribunal? He knew. Osun Tribunal gave us a misfeeling that these beavers could be neither here or there. And today, INEC is still releasing results of presidential results in their beavers, in the IRF, 97%. What if it goes like Osun issue? That's my question. Why is it doesn't have this understanding of acceptance worldwide or locally that this election is well managed? Why? Can you answer me that? Thank you.
Okay, Reverend Dominic.
Okay,
Princessa.
Yes. Let me first of all thank him for these questions, because it is important that these questions are answered. For me, I believe that almost every observer is hinging its report on the lack of INEC uploading results on the IRF. If you hear from the European Union observers, they will tell you, oh, this is what INEC asked them, that they were going to release the results online online through the IRF. This is the same thing that the Chatham House is saying. Almost everybody across the spectrum are saying the same thing, that INEC that had promised to upload results on the IRF refused to do so. Now, my brother, there are two things that I want to say here now. In the law of Nigeria, in the law guiding the operations of that election, the transmission of election was only discretionary. The discretion to choose whether to upload the results on the IRF or not to do so was simply the responsibility of the chairman of INEC. I know that the INEC chairman has not confirmed this, but that about between 25th of February and 26th of February, about 197 attempts were made to hack the IRF of the INEC. And if you put me in the shoes of Professor Yakubu, I would do the same thing if I am not sure that the server that is in the INEC cannot be hacked. If I am sure that it cannot be hacked, then I will go on and transmit the results electronically. But if I know that it is possible for the results to be hacked, I will do exactly as he did. Now, the second one is that for every result that was to be uploaded on the IRF, there was a hard copy given to all the agents of the, especially the three major political parties. So if the European Union, the Americans, everybody is saying that there was a deficit in terms of the credibility of the election, I beg to differ. And I would like to say here now that I have not heard anywhere in Nigeria that where the European nations are conducting their elections, that we send observer teams to go and tell them whether it had met the international standards or not.
Exactly. At this stage, Prince, I want to bring in Joshua, who is holding on, having called in from Irewolede. Good morning, Mr. Joshua.
Good morning. This is Miracle. Thank you. I've been calling you. Congratulations, Uncle Yomi.
Congratulations, Nigeria.
Congratulations to Nigeria.
Yes.
Nigeria made it out of the woods. We escaped from darkness. I want the pastor to understand that there was a media conspiracy against Nigeria to pull down this country.
You're talking about you're talking about Reverend Dominic?
Yes, Reverend Dominic, you understand.
Okay.
So he should not be carried away from whether an international observer or local observer or whatever it is. We saw the build-up before the election and after. There is a conspiracy to pull down Nigeria. Because if Nigeria gets it right, Africa will be okay. And the international community, I don't know what their issue is, but they are actually not looking for a third force from Africa, which Nigeria is likely going to be. I congratulate the Muslim ticket is an affirmation to him that Nigeria has grown beyond ethno-religious sentiment. We are at a level where we want a nation. The president-elect should take up that challenge so that these pastors, see, Uncle Yori, I'm a Christian, right? The way pastors want to ruin Nigeria, I don't know what their issue is. I certainly don't know. What is it that you will incite your members? After telling them to vote for a candidate, they decided to do what they want to do. They have voted for a president-elect. You will still go to your pulpit and use unprintable words. It's unthinkable how these pastors talk to militarize, to weaponize their members against their nation. If Nigeria falls, it's not because Nigeria is prosperous that they have mega churches. They should stop hitting up the polity and destroying Nigeria. We don't want religion. Okay. They should know. We don't want religion. Whoever these pastors are, they should go back to their members and be content with collecting tithes and offering. The president-elect should do something to make sure we take religion and ethnicity out of our public discussion.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Joshua in Irewolide. And Prince Etta, following on that thought, yeah, his observation is accurate because even as we are speaking, there still are, well, you see, social media is what it is. There's freedom to be on social media and say what you want on social media, but it's a bit worrying the way some are using it because just as Mr. Joshua has said, till this morning before I came on, you still have, men of the cloth. Clearly in their domain, in their house of worship, and they're still saying things that contradict what has been accomplished and what has been announced. It's worrying. People are still coming up, and our people, Nigerians do prophets, Nigerians do prophecy, Nigerians do religion. And so somebody will now say, this is what God showed me. We finished the election. Whatever God showed you, the election has been finished. We've made an announcement. They still are saying that what God showed them that time, you just wait. It is going to come to pass. And it's contradictory to what we have on the ground. Give me your thoughts on that.
Let me start by saying that I'm a pastor's son. And,
okay.
And I know the Bible. What they are doing is completely outside of the Bible. I remember when Jesus Christ went to the temple and saw people doing all manner of things. He brought out a whip and whipped them. I believe that if Jesus Christ were to come back to the Nigerian church today, he would not use a whip. He will use AK-47 to deal with them. So on that basis, I want to say that the church has no business in being another political party or a religious wing of a political party. In 2015, the church attempted this and it did not work. Mm-hmm. In 2019, the church again attempted this and it did not work. And it has not worked in 2023. Albert Einstein says that, of course, you know what he says about madness, that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you get the same result, it is the definition of madness.
Yeah.
You get,
okay, I beg your pardon. I got to because, Marochuku. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my brother on the sky. Yes. Sir, you say, before this presidential election, Punch newspaper carried that story that Tinubu has won the election in Japan. That was either 3 weeks or before 2 weeks. I was telling people, say, look, if it's an outside Nigeria, foreign country, where a newspaper of high magnitude carries a story like that, people should conclude that that is the result. But people were asking, say, how can you analyze that? Now, what Punch newspaper said 3 weeks before that election later manifested. Now, everybody can go to court. You agreed. That is the normal way of doing things. But the question is that we are in a system that that is what is affecting Nigerian political arena. The sportsmanship is not there in the politics. So if Nigerian politicians will learn that spirit of sportsmanship, that you go to match, any football match, you must be a winner, they must be a winner. If we start abandoning that situation, even the governorship election coming up on the, I think, 11th or 18th, that Nigerian people should try as much as possible have that sportsmanship, that by that 18th, if you win, accepting goofy, you didn't win. Don't go and start looking for people that to cause confusion and commotion. Indeed. And that is why people, if you have decided within yourself by Saturday 18th to go and vote for, go there and vote for the candidate of your choice. And that's also, what will you do? You have seen that some states, they have serious problems, no payment of salaries and pensions. Make sure that such political parties don't come back to this, or such, if the government is still existing, that it should not come back. You look for new hands so that there will be a change. We cannot continue of just every day we should make money. Look, we have to move forward. That's why I should tell our young boys and young girls. You are good in internet, you WhatsApp and tweet. That is.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much for calling in on that. I like the point you made about the Muslim ticket, and in spite of how some people felt about it, it actually has its usefulness in what it has proved now, because nobody's going to say that it is only Muslims that voted for Asiwaju. But please, your concluding thoughts, Prince Hilliard Etta, on this sort of post-mortem.
My concluding thought again is to congratulate Asiwaju Bola. My thought is to, first of all, again, congratulate him and his vice president-elect. In my interaction with him and in my stay as a party officer from 2014, I am yet to meet another Nigerian who has had the many arrows and darts thrown his way politically that has survived what Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has survived. If you know what some of us know in the party, the attempt, the concerted conspiracy to take Asiwaju out of the equation started immediately we won the presidential election in 2015. And Asiwaju owes us a debt of writing a memoir so that all of us will know the many nights of long. Even I, member of the NWC that was Chomole, suffered a collateral damage in the way of the conspiracy trying to take Asiwaju out of the system. They now took all of us out of the system. Until today, nobody has had the goodness and the kindness of heart in the party to apologize to the members of that NWC. I want to use this opportunity to thank Nigerians, to thank our APC Northern governors, to thank Governor Wike, to thank members of the APC, to thank Mr. Peter Obi, because in fact, he's coming into the fray, helped us to completely wipe out the PDP in South and the Southeast. And that helped us in the election. So we want to thank him for doing so.
And
for doing so.
The Turaki Adamawa had also said, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP had also said that there's no way Peter Obi could have expected to win this election. Well, that's between them. That's between the two losers.
No, there is no way he could have won the election. There is no way. Yeah. He did not have a national appeal. His appeal was just in the south and in swath of the Christian communities in the north central. Well, so he did not have the votes that is needed to win the election. Yes, thank you very much for having me on the program.
Indeed. Really appreciate you, Prince Hilliard Etta, former acting chairman of the ruling APC. And that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.
It's time for us to leave this.
One of your earrings is missing.
We'll find it.
I'm not willing to take that chance.
have a big plan, man.
What do you want?
I want a senior position at the bank. If anything happens to me, go through the content of this envelope and check every single thing.
It's done. No one will ever find out the truth.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be